Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Eagle Zone podcast. This is our first episode, and I am joined by two Drexel students in sports management with me. First off, I'm Garv Aurora. You already knew that, but I am joined with Mark to my right and Ryan to my left. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
What's up, guys?
So this is a podcast that we just started because we really want to share our opinions with the Eagles and the sports industry with you guys. And we thought this would be a great way to connect to our audience. And we really hope that you guys can get something out of this because we're going to have really fun making these episodes, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's get into it. Let's just start with it. And the Eagles and Panthers play this Sunday. We saw the Eagles play last week against the Giants on Thursday night. And by the way, we should start off by saying, Mark, you are a Giants fan.
Yeah, sadly.
So let's get into this for a second.
God.
So, Ryan, we should probably do introductions, right? Because, we should probably do introductions. They don't know who we are. So let's just start off with you, Mark, because you're the odd man out there.
Yeah. The only New York fan of all the New York sports, you know, Yankees, Knicks, Giants. You know, it's been rough forever.
It must be painful.
Yeah, I mean, we got our championships, but not recently. They're all terrible, except the Yankees, but, you know, they're out. But, yeah, I'm a sports management major here at Drexel, ready to make this podcast.
Oh, good. And Ryan?
Like Garv said, I'm a fellow sports management major. I'm a lifelong Philly sports fan, diehard Eagles fan with my boy Garv here. And, I'm just really excited to see how this podcast works out.
So, we have to get into our first topic here. The Eagles and Panthers. This is a big game, guys, because if the Philadelphia Eagles win this game, they're above 500. They still have to go to England next week to play Jacksonville before the bye. So, this is a big part of the schedule coming up, and it starts now. We saw last week with New York. It looks like they were back, but you can also say, was New York really that bad, or are the Eagles just starting to take form? This is going to be a telling game, isn't it?
I can tell you that New York is that bad. So I do think that is definitely a
come on.
confidence booster.
You don't give Eli enough credit.
I used to when he won his rings.
Yeah.
But, I think the Eagles definitely are showing their boost of confidence from last week, and that definitely helped, and maybe it sparked a fire under them.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I can expand on that. The Giants are actually that bad. I think we all agree on that. But the Eagles definitely are starting to look like their 2017 selves again, I think we can say.
Sure.
Carson Wentz looks like he's finally getting comfortable again in that pocket, which we should have expected, coming back from such a serious injury. And
first game he comes back, it's against Indy, it's
Exactly.
in the rain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we probably shouldn't have expected much, but he definitely started to show his old self, I believe.
Sure.
And the whole offense in general looked like it was starting to mold together again. So
It was some vintage moments. I mean, one Carson Wentz moment that I just saw during the last game where I was like, oh my God, there's so much 2017 is when he threw it to Alshon on the throw on the run in the end zone, the back of the end zone. Yeah,
Absolutely.
for the first touchdown. And those are the type of plays that when you have a quarterback like Carson Wentz, I think you're just always in the hunt no matter what. I mean, that's why I think the Packers, it's Aaron Rodgers and that's it.
No one else
You
is on
guys
that
agree?
team.
Yeah. You can throw in Jimmy Graham, I guess, but it's like Jimmy Graham.
Devontae Adams, I'd say. But that's about it.
Adams, sure.
But without Rodgers, what are they?
What are they? Exactly. And when you start to compare Wentz to Rodgers, it's pretty crazy because I don't think they're that far off. And I do think Rodgers is obviously the better quarterback, and I think he is the best quarterback in the league. But when you can do things like he can, as Carson can right now for the Eagles, you're in the playoff hunt. You're in it to be a Super Bowl competitor. And I'm excited. So Carolina is coming into this game. They're second in the NFC South. They're averaging 24.2 points, 17th. So it's, right in the middle of the pack. But here's the thing. 26th in passing yards. This is a team with Cam Newton as quarterback who looks like if you can pressure him, it looks like he can have a bad day.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah. if you look back at their game last week against Washington, the Redskins really took it to the Panthers in a real physical game. Showing a lot of different looks on defense, whether it was in pass rush, dropping back into zone coverage. They really gave the Panthers some different looks, and I feel like if the Eagles can successfully do that this weekend, I mean, they should be looking okay.
Sure. And, bringing the pressure, I think, is a big key here. But you also got to be, with Cam Newton, whenever you play Cam Newton, and I don't like Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton is very fraudulent. I think Cam won't get it done for you when it matters. But when you are playing Cam Newton, you have that mobility factor. And I do think you're going to have to put spies on him. You're going to have somebody on him at all times. Because if he can get going, man, I'll tell you what, for as much as I give Cam a lot of crap, if he can get it going, it's really hard to stop him.
He's a truck. He's 6'6", and once
he
he gets in the open field, good luck. Good luck, corners.
And it's like, the tackling, it's an issue with the Eagles. And I know they look better against New York, but even if sometimes they didn't. Saquon, he's a beast. We all know that. But Saquon literally
some huge runs
took advantage of the terrible tackling in the secondary with the defensive line, and they did the same thing against Tennessee too. And this is where it's big against Carolina, because you have to tackle Cam Newton. If you let this guy, dodge you and get a nice 7-8 yard gain, it's going to be really hard to stop their drives.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like you said, Christian McCaffrey, he's not that running up the gut running back who's going to run right through your defensive line and pound it into the end zone. He's more of that receiving back, as you said before. And I just don't see them running it for touchdowns or anything. They're going to throw the ball this weekend.
Absolutely, because it's all about mistakes in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever's going to make the most mistakes is going to lose this game.
And that seems to be like every Eagles game at this point, huh?
Because the Panthers don't have that big playmaker. The playmaker is McCaffrey, and once they stop McCaffrey, who's he going to throw it to?
I don't know. If you ask them, they might say Devin Funchess.
Well, they might say Greg Olsen, but I don't know how great Greg Olsen is going to be with that foot.
I know.
He's just coming back. He played last week. He played well, but how much are you expecting from him?
I know in terms of fantasy, I know he's questionable right now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I have him on a couple of my teams.
By the way, since we're talking about fantasy football, I have 3 fantasy football teams, okay? All of them are below 500, and it's because I have Le'Veon Bell on all of them.
God, bless your soul.
I know. Sorry. And I'm sure Le'Veon Bell will be brought up at some point in this podcast again. But Le'Veon Bell, dude, if he doesn't come back next week, you can kiss my fantasy seasons goodbye. I'm barely making it through. And this is just, I won the championship last year. I feel like the Eagles. I feel like,
having a little bit of a rough start.
Yeah, a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. So the trade deadline, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Do the Eagles want to trade for a running back? That's the main question here.
I don't know. As an Eagles fan, I want them to trade for a running back, but do I see them trading for a running back? At this point, probably not.
And you did some research on this.
Yeah. I looked into the situation. The big running backs that are available for trade right now are Le'Veon Bell, obviously, as we said before, and LaShawn McCoy. It would be great to see LaShawn McCoy come back to the Eagles, but
until 3 carries later.
To be quite frank, he's not the same running back.
It's all for the theatrics with LaShawn McCoy. You're just going to get him, and you're going to get a bunch of jerseys to be sold again.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Is he going to produce?
We don't. He might, but essentially, you're going to have the same problem at running back that you had before.
Yeah. From what I saw, I've been looking around on the rumors and stuff, and it looks like the asking price for LaShawn McCoy is way too high for the Eagles to even consider it. So if you guys are sitting at home hoping for the Eagles to acquire LaShawn McCoy, I would probably change who I'm hoping they're going to get, because it's not going to be LaShawn McCoy. And to keep going on that, I don't think it's going to be Le'Veon Bell either.
And why is that?
I just feel Le'Veon Bell is going to come back to the Steelers. He has to come back, because I don't know if many people know this, but
do you think he's going to come back after this year to Pittsburgh?
No, he's going to come back this year. If he wants to be a free agent this offseason, he has to come back by their bye week.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, if he wants to get paid, he has to come back.
Sure.
Whether he plays or not, that's to be seen. That's a whole nother thing we can discuss here because, to be honest, I think he's going to play.
Yeah.
And I think for Pittsburgh Steelers fans, they're going to be kind of disappointed and upset about it because obviously they don't like Le'Veon Bell for what he's doing to them.
Yeah.
But he's Le'Veon Bell. He's the best running back, arguably, in the National Football League.
Sure, and we see the contract. Like, look at the Todd Gurley contract.
Absolutely.
I mean, Le'Veon.
I can say Le'Veon's probably better than Todd Gurley.
Yeah, he's worth more, in my opinion, than Todd Gurley is.
Yeah.
And it's really crazy to see just how high that contract can go. I mean, I'm really excited for that. But then that leads me to my next question. If it's not those two, and if it's not at the running back position, then where is it?
If I'm the Eagles, I'm looking at secondary.
Mm-hmm.
We are depleted at secondary, whether it's poor performance, injury. I mean, the Eagles need to go out and get some sort of depth, whether it's top-of-the-line depth, like we've been hearing the rumors about this Patrick Peterson possibly, or Earl Thomas.
Maybe a pipe dream.
Earl Thomas before he got hurt. It needs to be I think they need to go maybe lower than that and look at more depth options maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they need someone. They literally just need any kind of depth, or they're just going to get torched every single play. Because you can't always count on Darby.
Sure. And, kind of what you just said is how I felt last year when they got Ajayi. They need somebody. They're missing one person, and I think right now it's for the secondary. They're missing one person. I do want somebody who more has a leadership role because I think that's what we're really missing in the secondary. Besides Jenkins, who's a safety,
absolutely,
there's not much, older guys there. It's all young guys. It's Jalen Milne, Sidney Jones, Rasul Douglas.
Throwing those young guys to the dogs.
But that's a scary thing. I mean, we talk about how just thin the secondary is, and these are secondaries that are going to be playing some top-notch wide receivers throughout the year. They have already, already played top-notch wide receivers. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. By the way, last question: Des Bryant, maybe. No.
I just don't
Stay
see
away.
it. I
agree with you.
One, I don't see the value in it. I mean, he hasn't been a top wide receiver in years. You could probably pull up the stats if you wanted to, but you probably don't even have to. There's a reason he got cut from the Cowboys, and it's not fully because of his attitude, but it's because of his performance. It's been poor.
I mean, when the past few years when he was on Dallas, the only times we saw him throw up the X was after a 6-yard reception. I mean, he didn't really do that much. And I don't know if part of that was Dak. Okay, so you think it's Dak, but how much of it was on Dez in Dallas?
I think Dez could have made more plays because you saw him drop passes last season. You saw how bad he played.
Do you think Dak, we can all agree here that Dak is not a quarterback that's going to win through his arm, right? He needs
absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, obviously you saw last week when he rushed all over the Jaguars last week when they blew out the Jaguars. He had more rushing yards than Zeke, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
it was a lot.
Yeah,
so he's a Russell Wilson type guy, but just not with the type of arm like Russell Wilson, obviously. But
so he's lower tier quarterback.
Yeah, he's a lower tier quarterback at best. That's another argument we can start, but we don't have time.
We don't have time for that. But here, that's a question that's going to relate to this. We see that Dak is obviously not the most capable. Carson is very capable, and Des Bryant is still, he's a better wide receiver than most that we have right now, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, besides Aguilar and Alshon, I would say. Des is probably better than everybody else, right?
I think the only problem that's going to come up if they start looking into Des is what kind of money is Des looking for? He turned down.
You think he would take a pay cut in the NFC East to play Dallas?
No.
Absolutely,
he said that he would. You think?
This late in the season, too.
I think
he just wants to play.
I don't think he even cares if he plays.
Well, the fact that he even
turned down $5 million from Baltimore and $6 million, I believe it was, from the Browns.
It's because he wants to have that long term, but he can't.
And now
I don't understand.
And now his new thing is, I want to go back to Dallas. You're not welcome in Dallas. Nobody wants that. Nobody's going to take on the salary that he wants because he hasn't performed to earn that salary.
He shot himself in the foot.
Absolutely.
He did. And, I did see this coming with Dez. But as you said, another topic for another time.
Yeah.
We should go into some questions here because we do have some questions from our audience. I posted this on the Instagram story. Once again, this is our first episode, so we are trying to figure out as much as you are on what's going on here. So we are trying to get things acclimated. We're trying to get adjusted to this. So eventually it is going to be a smoother process. You guys will know when our next podcast is going to be up. So we won't have these Q&A sessions again, so please ask your questions, give us your thoughts, and it could be on air. So first, let's talk about these questions here. The first question is, should Jalen Mills be benched?
No.
No.
Because there's no corners behind him. There's no depth to bench Jalen Mills.
You're going to get someone that's going to be performing worse than Jalen Mills.
And even if there is somebody to replace him, Jalen Mills proved last year that he can be a corner in the National Football League. He played really well all year last year. This year he's just been in kind of a slump, and it just seems like he can't really get his footing for some reason or another. But no, I don't think they should bench him because I don't think there's anybody better on the bench to replace him. I don't know.
Is Washington legit?
Is Washington legit? That's an excellent question.
Yeah.
They have the potential. They got that veteran presence, obviously, at quarterback in Alex Smith. Adrian Peterson has been semi-looking the way he used to.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of depends.
He has his weeks.
He has his weeks for sure. If Jordan Reed can stay healthy, though, he can be the difference maker for the Washington.
Yeah,
Redskins.
and we were talking about that. I think Jordan Reed is potentially the X factor in Washington because when Jordan Reed gets it going, it could be Kirk Cousins or it could be Alex Smith, but they're typically having field days whenever Jordan.
Colt McCoy.
Yeah, but Jordan Reed, so we always knew he was a good tight end, but Jordan Reed, the health factor has always been there. So it's honestly if he can stay healthy this year. And I don't know what record will win the NFC East. I think the Eagles are going to go 10-6 or 11-5, and that should win it. But I think Washington could probably go 9-7.
Going back to the question, honestly, we can change it into who is for real in the NFC East.
Sure.
This is by far the worst division.
I don't think anybody's for real. You can't say the Eagles are for real after one
it's
game.
wide open.
Yeah.
Listen, it can be anybody's division. Minus the Giants, of course. But other than that, it could be anybody's division. Whoever can get that going and get it consistently going is going to be the winner of this division.
Mark, do you think the Giants have a shot at coming back?
Oh, no way.
No.
I've seen their schedule. I've seen the way they've played. As long as they don't have an offensive line, which they don't, they will not be competing.
But what does this come down to? Because it's been the same. It's like a new coach, but it's the same problems. So who's to blame there?
I got a theory on that.
Let me hear it.
Yeah, let me get some popcorn.
You might want to sit down for this one.
Yeah.
It is number 10, Eli Manning.
What a theory!
That's about it. But no, Eli Manning is he's just past.
It's time.
It's time.
Yeah.
Giants fans, people have been saying it for a while. And Giants fans have been like, "No, he still got it. No, he doesn't have it anymore. He can't throw the ball downfield. He can't even make a dump off pass anymore. I can't tell if it's because he's learning a new offense again or he's just that.
But
bad.
that excuse has been every year.
Learning a new
offense, right?
Learning a new offense. It's not a new offense anymore. Look.
Eli just doesn't have it anymore. He hasn't had it in years, and I've accepted that it's time for him to just hang it up, and I'm ready to tank for that number 1 pick and give me a good quarterback.
Tank for the first pick?
I'll take it.
Or do they go out? Here's a question. I got a question for us.
Okay.
It's not going to be from the fans here. This is from me. Do they go out? Do they tank and go get a top young quarterback out of college like a Justin Herbert? Or do they go and sign a quarterback that could be available, say a Blake Bortles, or trade for a guy who might be available, like say a Derek Carr?
I think if you get Blake Bortles, you're going to essentially have the same problem. He's just more mobile. Yeah. I think to answer your question, I would absolutely, I wouldn't say I want a tank, but I would absolutely hope as a Giants fan that I get that next franchise quarterback in the draft. Because if you look at the age of the Giants, Odell is still young, Saquon is young. Then if you can get a young franchise quarterback, that offense can all of a sudden, move the ball down the field.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just, I've been seeing a lot of rumors also lately. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm big into the rumor thing.
Mm-hmm. Rumor mill. I go big with you.
I go big into the rumors around the league, but I've been seeing a lot of people calling for Derek Carr to get traded to the Giants.
Yeah.
I think maybe he could be the guy who helps turn it around, and then maybe they can use their top picks in the draft to go get a line because their line has been atrocious.
I don't think so. I think they need that young guy. Once they get that young guy, they have that whole young core on defense and on offense.
Yeah.
So once they have all that, they can start building to actually get that O-line possibly through free agency instead of the draft.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that Derek Carr isn't young or he isn't good, because I think Derek Carr is both of those.
But I think he's having the same problem with learning a new offense.
But that's what I was going to get into. But I think, here's the thing. We obviously saw Gruden trade Khalil Mack, which was the dumbest thing you could do.
Like I said, we don't even have enough time.
We don't have enough time to cover that. But I do think if there was one player you had to pick in Oakland that was untouchable by John Gruden. Oh, that was bad. Yeah, by John Gruden, it would have to be Derek Carr, and I think Derek Carr. I even saw it too. I don't know if you saw these episodes that he's done in the past.
Cruden's QB.
He did one with Carr, and I could tell. Maybe I don't know why he took the job in Oakland, because there have been so many times where there have been rumors. You said you're a big rumor guy. Yeah. There have been so many rumors of him every year getting offered jobs and jobs and jobs. Yeah.
When the Eagles were hiring Doug Peterson, they were calling for John Gruden's name. Yeah. They were going to hang him up on the art museum.
I think Gruden has a different philosophy, and I think it's going to take time getting used to. But I think Carr is the biggest reason why he's there. I think he's in love with Carr.
Yeah. Well, anyway, getting back to the question at hand, are the Redskins for real? They could be.
They could be, but you could say the same thing for three other teams in the. I mean, I think the Giants.
Maybe not the Giants, but okay, two other teams definitely for sure.
As long as they're only 2.5 games back,
they can still figure it out. Absolutely.
Yeah. Do I trust them to figure it out? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do the Eagles need to trade for someone? This is kind of what we talked about earlier, but we can just, touch on it again. Yeah.
I think I think they do need to make a move. Mm-hmm. Now, whether it's a splash like a Jay Ajayi last year or just some depth moves to be able to add some depth in the places they need, like safety or corner, or even running back for that matter, wide receiver. I think they do definitely need to make a move.
Yeah, this Eagles team right now that I'm looking at, I don't think they can win another Super Bowl back-to-back. They need something, whatever it could be. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, if they plan on making a run at another Super Bowl, they have to compete with teams like the Chiefs or the Rams or, the Chargers, whatever it may be, the New England Patriots. I don't know if they can beat those teams right now, this team.
The NFC is very tough. I refer to the NFC as this. You could put a needle in a haystack, and it will be just as hard as trying to find it as picking a team in the NFC.
Absolutely, yeah. The AFC, it's getting a little bit harder because the Chiefs are emerging themselves.
And the Patriots, I think, are on a bit of a decline. I know Brady looked amazing in the last game against the Kansas City Chiefs, but once again, they do look a little Just a little bit worse than last
I
year,
don't
right?
know. I agree, but like the Patriots, people have been calling for a Patriots decline for how long now?
I've been saying it for seasons.
Look
Yeah,
at
he's
Max
been calling.
Kellerman. He's been calling for a Brady decline for years now.
I don't know, but I just I don't know. I'm not really sure what the deal would be if the Redskins are for real. It's anybody's game. All right, guys. So now we're going to get into our NFL game predictions segment of the show. This is where we're going to go through every game through the week, and we're going to give our predictions on game score or anything that may happen in the game. So first, we're going to start. It's going to be Titans at Chargers. Garv, what do you think? What do you got on that one?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think the Chargers being at home, Phillip Rivers, I think it's going to be one of those games where Phillip Rivers is just going to have a great day passing.
Yeah.
I think, and we saw what Alshon did against Tennessee, and I think the Chargers have, even better weapons in Melvin Gordon, and they have, like, Mike Williams and all these
Absolutely.
guys. Yeah, and I think, being at home, Phillip Rivers is just going to take advantage. I got it 27-16. Chargers win.
16. All right, Mark?
So for once in the Chargers' career, they didn't have a close game with the Browns, which is actually incredible. So I think that's a good sign for the Chargers, and I think they will beat the Titans. But it'll be a lot closer than you guys are both thinking here. And maybe with a 24-20 kind of score, low-scoring kind of game.
All right. I got 27-10 with the Chargers taking this one. Chargers just got a better offense.
Yeah.
They're just more.
I just think they have a better
Titans
team.
are kind of in the slump right now.
Yeah.
I mean, after beating the Eagles, they haven't done really anything. So
that's the hangover.
Melvin Gordon's been doing really well. Like you said, Phillip Rivers at home. He's gonna go off this week. So next we got Patriots at the Bears. Garv, what do you got?
I got the Patriots winning this one. We don't know if Khalil Mack will play. Reports are looking like he might not. And that is, of course, concerning, especially since he is the best player on your team. Yeah, not just even on the defense, on your team. But I do like Trubisky. I do think Trubisky is, on the rise. I think they are going to put up some points against, I think, a suspect Patriots defense.
Yeah.
But it's Tom Brady. Even though it's in Chicago, it's Tom Brady. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to pick the Pats 30-20.
30-20. Mark, what do you got?
Come on. The Pats are winning this game, especially if Khalil Mack isn't playing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They just aren't. They just can't match up with the Patriots, and I think Tom Brady is still Tom Brady that we've been seeing for the last 10 years. He's still amazing, and he's still going to kill the Bears. Easy.
You got a score prediction for
that? I'll give it a 35-14.
35-14.
Wow.
Well, like Garv said, Mack is questionable, and he is their best player on their team, let alone their defense. If Mack plays, it'll be a closer game, I feel, because he's going to be able to torch whatever tackle he's on, whatever side he's on, he's torching, he's getting the 12. He's getting the Tom Brady.
All right, I'll say that. If the Khalil Mack plays, it'll be 35-21.
I'm going to go Khalil Mack with a defensive touchdown.
I like what Garv said when he was talking about Mitchell Trubisky. He is really coming into his own with this offense, and he's really kind of finding his stride now in his second year.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me, it's a little bit of a Carson
Wentz-esque.
It's Wentz-esque.
And I think also a big part of it is obviously the changes with the coaching staff.
Absolutely. They got a good coach this year. They do.
Yeah, they do. So, I mean, it is nice to see Trubisky taking forward.
Well, anyway, I got it 27-24 Patriots win. All right?
Okay.
All right, so next game, we got Texans at Jacksonville. I mean, I don't even know. This Jaguars team has been...
They lost to the Cowboys in a blowout.
Well, let's talk about this Texans team, because this Texans team is weird, too. I mean, this team...
They lost to the Giants.
Yeah, and they beat Dallas last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say. They just beat Buffalo last week, but it's weird. This team, I remember against Dallas... so many red zone opportunities, and they couldn't convert. And now I will tell you what, DeAndre Hopkins, oh my God, this guy is amazing.
He's good.
I'd go as far as saying number one.
Wow.
I don't know about that. All right, he's pushing it. But anyway,
just saying.
What do you guys got for this game?
I think this is an interesting game because I don't know what to expect. It's like sitting
at the casino at the blackjack table and you're trying to figure out what is going to happen. You have no idea.
It is.
You don't know which team on either side is going to show up.
You really don't. And you know what? Jacksonville's home. They got embarrassed by Dallas last week. God, that was awful. I think they're going to come back at home, and they're going to win 20-13. I think it's going to be one of those type of games where it's, offensively it's pretty sloppy. Some late game heroics.
Over under combined interceptions. Over or under 3?
Over.
Over.
I
think Blake's got about 3 in him, doesn't he?
Blake can carry that over by himself.
Honestly, I think Blake can have 10 in him. I'm not a big Bortles guy, but here's the thing: Bortles can get it done. I think it's over. 2.5 interceptions if you combine, each quarterback. Because Deshaun Watson,
he's good for 1.
Watson, probably good for 1, and same as Bortles.
All right, so you had 2013.
Yeah, and weird
sloppy game.
And
sloppy games.
And one of those games you don't want to watch.
One of those games you don't want to watch. Maybe one of those games where if you're one of those bettors on the apps on the phone, you probably don't want to take the over/under on anybody.
Sure.
It's probably not worth your time.
Probably not.
Mark, what do you got?
I'll go sloppier with a 17-12 Jags win.
Jeez.
Wow.
All field goals. It's going to be horrible.
He's just trolling at this point, I hope.
So like we said, the Jags they got embarrassed last week. That was the ugliest thing I've ever seen out of Jacksonville in a long time. And Blake Bortles just looks out of sync. The whole offense looks horrible when he's out of sync. And the defense plays horrible because they're tired. They're on the field most of the game. They don't have a time to take a breath. It was kind of like with the Eagles when Chip Kelly was around. When we didn't have enough time, time of possession was almost not a thing for the Eagles when Chip Kelly was around. Garv, you remember that more than I do. You were at the game.
Yeah, and you know what? And Chip Kelly, especially in 2015, it's like the playbook was so closed and so limited.
Yeah.
It's like jet sweeps with DeMarco Murray. Like, what are you doing?
I'm not, like I said, like I keep saying, you guys are going to hear me say this all the time. It's a topic we don't have freaking time for. So, we can't even go into Chip Kelly. But anyway, I actually have it 17-14 Texans win. I think Jacksonville is in a slump.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is tired because the offense can't stay on the field. I think the Texans are just going to find this one.
I think it changes with Carlos Hyde this week with that offense.
I don't know if Carlos Hyde is going to play that much. Apparently, Leonard Fournette's injury is a little worse than they thought, and Yeldon's apparently got something going on lingering now. Yeah. So they went out and got Hyde. I don't think it's going to make a difference this week. He's bringing a brand new offense. I mean, what is he going to really do?
Yeah.
Anyway, next game we got the Vikings at the Jets in New York, MetLife Stadium. What do you guys got?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think I have to think about this. I mean, look, the Jets are, I won't say a fine football team.
They're trying their best.
But
I think Sam Darnold's looked pretty good.
He has. He definitely has. But Minnesota is right now tied for 5th in sacks, and I think Darnold is really going to see that on Sunday. I don't see the Jets winning this game. The Vikings are going to win this game.
You never know. Did you see the Bills beating the Vikings a couple of weeks ago?
No, I didn't. You know what? I didn't, and you got me on that one. But as of right now, with the way, especially with the way I've seen Kirk Cousins throw the ball, I don't see the Vikings getting stopped offensively. There's too many weapons. Stephon Diggs, Dalvin Cook, all these guys. Adam Thielen, let's talk about him, right? I mean, the amount of consecutive games he's had together with 100-plus yards.
I'm going to have a fantasy moment here. I took Adam Thielen in the 4th round of my draft in a couple leagues, and he is the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy football. I mean, if you guys need fantasy football advice, come to me. That's all I got to say. Mark, did you give a score prediction for this one?
No, I did not. So I will give it Vikings 31, Jets 16.
16. All right, Mark.
I gotta go with Garv here. Vikings are gonna kill him. That D line. That D line's gonna eat up.
I like
Sam
how you
Darnold.
come out and just say it. I kind of
you
build
don't
up
gotta-
to it.
You don't
just
have to do it, man.
Yeah.
It's easy. I think anyone that doesn't even know football can look at this and say, yeah, the Vikings are gonna kill Jets.
Yeah, and you might not immediately notice that if you just looked at the record. But if you looked at on paper, the players, it's just not even close. Yeah.
All right, so what do you got for a score?
I'll give it 28-14.
28-14. I got 28-17 with the Vikings winning. The Vikings are just a better football team. Flat out. You don't even got to explain it. It's just how it is. All right, so we got the Bills against the Colts in Indianapolis. Guys.
Do we even have to do this one?
This is another game where you just don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, my God.
Just so you guys know, if you didn't know, Josh Allen is out of this game. Derek Anderson will be starting for the Buffalo Bills this week. I don't even know. He's not Nick Foles. That's what I know. He's not Nick Foles.
And I think that makes the decision that much easier for me because I was on the fence, but seeing that Derek Anderson's playing, give me the Colts.
Yeah, the Colts are going to win this.
You guys got score predictions? Garv, let's go with you first.
I think it's in Indy, isn't it?
It is in Indy.
I think, you know what? I think Andrew Luck's going to have a good game. He'll throw for 2 to 3 touchdowns. Let's say the Colts win this one 24-16.
24-16.
I'm thinking the Colts up there, high-scoring game here against this horrible Bills team that just can never find their footing. 42-20.
Wow.
42-20. Like I said, Derek Anderson, I mean, I'm pretty sure the last time I saw him play was when Cam Newton was out and he was in Carolina.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very good. So, based on that, I'm going to go with 24-10. Colts victory. Andrew Luck is just going to go off at home this week.
Okay.
All right, so next we got the Browns against the Buccaneers in Tampa.
This is another one.
I don't know who makes these schedules, but it's like they're trying to make it hard for us. Or something. I just don't even know. You don't know what Browns team you're going to get? Is it the Browns team that ties the Steelers?
Yeah, or is it the Browns team that just got a really bad reality check last week?
Yeah, I don't know. So, what do you got for a score in this one?
I mean, this is a weird game to me. All of these games are weird, honestly. But, Jameis Winston is the type of quarterback that I'm not a fan of. I don't think Jameis Winston, he has similar attributes, in my opinion, to Cam Newton when it comes to leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't trust Winston in this game. We've seen the Browns defense. They do have the potential to be a scary defense at times. We saw against Pittsburgh just how scary it can
Absolutely.
get. Yeah, they can play, not even at that same level of intensity, but if they can come close to matching it, I think the Browns have a good shot at actually winning this one. I would say the Browns just lose this one, though. I would say the Bucs win this 24-21.
24-21. Mark?
I can see something similar happening. I think this game is going to be another one of those Browns overtime games where they just can't get it done in regular time.
It's going to be the Browns losing this game.
The Browns are going to lose this game.
Yeah, it's not going to be the Browns. Horrible. It's always the Browns losing the game. It's never about a team really just beating the Browns. It's about how the Browns lost a game, isn't it?
Yep, they're going to beat themselves up against a Bucs team that isn't that good. Mm-hmm. And I'll say 14-17.
14-17.
Browns win that one.
Yeah.
Or, sorry,
Browns
lose that
lose.
one. Sorry.
Browns lose. Well, you know what? If I get this right, I've been taking the hard road on a lot of these scores. I am the opposite of you guys. I got the Browns winning this game against a not-so-good Buccaneers defense, 30-27. It's going to be close.
Okay.
Jameis Winston's going to throw for a lot of touchdowns. He's going to throw a lot of interceptions as well.
Mm-hmm.
The Browns Baker Mayfield, he's been consistently the way he's been playing. He's been consistent.
Yeah.
So
which is good. Which is so much better than what they've had.
You can only go up from here.
Yeah.
So 30-27 Browns victory for me.
Mm-hmm.
Next we got the Lions in Miami against the Dolphins.
Yeah. This is all of this week is really
This
weird.
week is a weird week.
It is.
It is a weird week.
It is. It's Detroit in Miami. I'll take Miami on this one.
Miami?
Yeah, and it's because I think Adam Gase is doing a really good job with that team right
just
now.
realize, obviously he didn't show that he was backup material last week, but Brock Osweiler will be playing again, I believe, this week.
Tannehill is out this
Tannehill
week.
will be out this week.
He is definitely out.
He is out.
Last I saw, I believe he was doubtful.
Okay.
So
New report.
So
an hour ago.
New report
An hour ago. Okay,
Tannehill
so
is
we
out of
were
this game.
we were
already, at least if not on the air, just about to be on the air. So Tannehill is out this weekend. Just know that for fantasy owners. Although if you own Ryan Tannehill in fantasy,
I'm sorry.
I don't know what happened.
Well, it's good for me to know that too, because I'm gonna change my pick on what would have been. I'm gonna pick the Lions, and it's because what you just said. I don't think Detroit's a great football team. I think Stafford is a turnover machine.
Mm-hmm.
And his career, he's shown that. But I think Detroit's just, with the quarterback situation, they have them beat. Brock Osweiler is not. I don't think he can win 2 straight weeks in a row.
I guess we'll find out.
I guess
what
we
do you
will.
got?
Absolutely not. Brock Osweiler cannot win 2 weeks in a row.
I think we just agree on everything.
I think the Dolphins would have won this game if Ryan Tannehill was in, and I do not like Brock Osweiler enough to take them.
Yeah,
So,
I'm in the same thought.
I'm giving it to the Lions.
Yeah.
And I'll give it 31-24.
31-24. Did you give a score prediction?
No, I didn't. I'll give it 34-16 or 13 or 14 or whatever. Just
something like
low
that.
scoring. Brock Osweiler is a quarterback, so it's going to be something low.
A good point I want to bring up on my behalf, at least, is Frank Gore rushed for 100 yards last week. I'm sorry. Old man. This is my old man Gore. Old man Gore.
Yeah.
Will not rush for 100 yards again. And who is Kenyon Drake, and where did he go?
That is very true.
Anyway,
he disappeared.
I don't know what happened, but something happened.
He just appeared out of nowhere after Ajayi left and then disappeared.
He's gone. I don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got 27-20 Lions victory on this one. Next, we got the Saints in Baltimore against the Ravens. This one probably not as bad as the last couple games we've been trying to predict here. This one's a little bit easier, but 2 very good to good teams that are probably going to give us a good game here. Garv, what do you think?
Yeah, I think New Orleans is going to win this one despite being in Baltimore. The Ravens' defense is a good defense.
It is. Yes, it is.
It is. But with the Saints having Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram back, and these.
What about Ingram last week?
Yeah,
Ingram looked great. All I know is I did not start him in fantasy. I'm not even that.
But these weapons that Drew Brees has, and he just broke the record and
it's
everything.
Drew Brees.
And it's Drew Brees. You throw in these things, and I got the Saints winning there. I got it being. I think it'll be somewhat close in the first half, and then I think they'll just start pulling away. So I would say 27-17.
27-17. Mark, what do you got?
I love the Saints. I love Drew Brees. I love the way he's been playing. I think they're doing great. I do respect the Ravens' defense. I have to give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
But the Saints are going to pull this one out, and it's going to be with that run game and not with Drew Brees' arm. And they're going to score a lot of points, I think. Probably 35-27.
35-27. Yeah, like you said, Drew Brees has been playing phenomenal. Congratulations to him for breaking the record. That's incredible. You'll never see another guy more consistent. He is so consistent.
And
consistently good.
Not just that, but let's just bring up how great of a person he is.
Absolutely.
We talk about these NFL athletes these days and character issues. Drew Brees has never had any of that.
Absolutely. He is old school, as they would say.
He is.
He's very old school.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like you said, the running game for the Saints is, one of the best running back tandems, if not the best in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, and with Drew Brees being as consistent he is, they can pass the ball, they can run the ball, they can do whatever they want. But the Ravens have been showing glimpses of being a very good football team this year. With the difference that they do is they bring Lamar Jackson in sometimes with that QB runs.
I don't get it.
It's weird. They have Flacco stand out there like a wide receiver and he doesn't move. But I don't know what they do. But
what's the point? It's like a tease.
It's very predictable.
It is very predictable, but what's the point of bringing in your future?
Absolutely.
For a quarterback run?
I don't know. Although look what the Saints do with that quarterback who returns.
But he's not going to be the future.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I was saying,
they drafted this guy in the first round because Flacco he sucks.
Hey, man. Flacco has been looking very good this year compared to other years.
Yeah, compared to other years.
He's still not elite.
Yeah. I mean, other than the year he led them to the Super Bowl. Like this is the best year he's looked since then, I believe.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I was saying, it's going to be a close game, high-scoring game, 28-21 Saints victory for me. Next, this is going to be a pretty easy one. We should get through this one pretty quick. I got Rams against the 49ers in San Francisco. Rams are 6-0, and they're going to be 7-0 after this week is over. There is no shot that C.J. Beathard and the 49ers hold down the fort at home against the Los Angeles Rams. It's just not going to happen. I just don't see it. Garv, what do you got?
Yeah, I think their shot in Green Bay was just as good as it gets winning a game.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen this week against L.A. I mean, despite some crazy miracle happening. I know it's in San Francisco, but L.A. travels pretty well, too. Yeah, I got L.A. They could put 40-plus points up. I mean,
that defense is atrocious.
Yeah.
I mean, Richard Sherman really hasn't done anything, and he's been a good leadership figure on that defense, and he's, done good for locking up top guys.
Yeah.
But he's not the same guy he was.
Yeah.
There's a reason he got cut from the Seahawks. They said they didn't want him back. He's not the same guy he was.
Well, he got traded.
Did he get traded?
Yeah, he got traded to San Francisco.
Anyway.
But you're right. There is a reason that they traded him, and that
he's just not the same guy he was.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Sherman, he was, this number one shutdown elite corner that no quarterback wanted to throw to. And part of that is still somewhat true, but he's not. He kind of reminds me of
it feels like he lost his edge a little.
Yeah, well, you know what he reminds me of? He's a much better version of Josh Norman. Because I've always thought Josh Norman was not a great corner. And I always thought that Josh Norman, when he went to Washington, he was just going to be, like, people were going to see him for what he is. And I think that's kind of something similar here, because without the Legion of Boom, now you're starting to see that, Sherman could be beat over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So what do you have for a score for this one, Garth? I know you said they're going to put up 40 points, but, I mean, you didn't say you didn't know a score.
I'll have the Rams winning this one 46-21 or 23.
The 49ers offense putting 21 points up on the number one Rams defense.
Look, it's probably a time's up. It's garbage time points. That's what I'm factoring.
Clock time on you, Mark. What you got?
I remember when the schedule came out in the preseason, and everyone's like, this is going to be a good game. And then look what happened to those 49ers team.
Yeah.
Their season ended when Jimmy Garoppolo went down.
In shambles. It's in shambles now, and I know it's going to be a bad game. I think the Rams could put up 50. I don't think they will, but I think it's possible with this horrible Niners team. I'll give it 38-10.
38-10.
Rams taking that one.
You guys are out of your mind. But I think 40 is 50's not going to happen. 40's pushing it. I got them holding the 35 points because I feel like the Rams will just take the foot off the gas maybe at one point. But the 49ers will not score a touchdown on this Rams defense. I am Putting that out there. It just
Wow.
won't happen.
That's
Putting that out
there. We go.
They looked good last week, but no, it's
It
just
was
not
against
gonna happen.
probably the worst secondary.
Absolutely, it's
in the
just
league.
not. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen. So I got 35-6.
Okay.
Rams victory. They may get a couple field goals, but they are not going to score a touchdown this week.
Mm.
If I were you guys, and you have a choice of games, and this is one of the choices, just don't watch this game. It's going to be a massacre. It's not even going to be worth your time.
This is
unless you have
game.
Unless you have Todd Gurley in fantasy, or Brandon Cooks, or Jared Goff. Just don't watch.
You know what this game reminds me of? It reminds me of the first preseason game every year, where you're really excited just for a game to be on, just for some type of football, and then you watch the first 2 drives, and you're like, oh my God, this is awful.
Yeah.
And I think that's...
I don't know. I didn't happen to catch the time on what time this game's on, but if it's like
it
one of
it's
one of those 4 o'clock games,
don't watch it.
Just don't watch it. Just don't watch it. If you want to take a nap during this game, go for it. Anyway,
look, we respect our audience enough to give them, what we think, and what we think is this is a garbage game. They shouldn't watch it. You guys shouldn't watch it. If you watch it, then there's something wrong with you.
Anyway, we got to keep moving here. Wow. So we got the Cowboys at the Redskins in Washington. Guys, this could be a good game. This could be a really good game.
Could be, or it could be another NFC East.
It could, I don't know, man. It could be, the Cowboys are coming off whooping the Jags. And the Redskins have been consistent all year long. Alex Smith has been looking really good, and the Cowboys' defense is not anything to be scared of. So, Garb, what do you got?
Is this game in Washington?
It is in Washington.
Okay, so I have Washington winning this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say I have Washington winning 20-17, and I think it is going to be a close game.
Yeah.
For the most part, I think it's going to be one of those NFC East battles where it's just kind of back and forth.
No matter how bad or how good the teams are.
Yeah.
It seems like NFC games are always close.
It is. It's like
unless it's the Eagles against the Giants.
Yeah.
He's flipping me the bird right now. You can't see that.
You can't see it, but he definitely did it.
So what do you got for a score, Garf?
Yeah, I got 2017. I got Washington winning this one. I think it just comes down to Washington. They're at home. Alex Smith is playing well. I think they're going to take the cake on this. I think Dak isn't going to be able to do enough to win on the road.
Now, realize that with the Cowboys' offense, if you guys are banking on Dak having a good game here, Tavon Austin is out. He is their number 1 wide receiver, believe it or not. Tavon Austin is the number 1 wide receiver.
And that tells you some things.
So look for Cole Beasley to get locked up and look for nothing good to happen. Maybe a couple Zeke good runs, but nothing good really to happen here for the Cowboys. But Mark, what do you got?
I just can't stay away, as much as it pains me, that the Cowboys are going to win this game by 1 point.
Wow.
31-30. In an offensive battle with Zeke destroying that defense.
I was going to say, their only chance is Zeke.
Yeah.
Okay, don't tell me Cole Beasley going to have.
Cole Beasley will not be doing anything.
You think Washington's going to give up 31 points at home? I mean, they could. Yeah. They very well could. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like this is going to be one of those, more NFC East defensive games where it's like, these are the type, because I look at both teams on offense and I see Jordan Reed and I see Ezekiel Elliott, but those are really the only 2 players I see. If we're being honest,
Adrian Peterson,
AP is good. He's still good. He's got some vintage moments.
Also, realize fantasy owners, he is questionable this week, but he's questionable every week because he's old. But
yeah,
yeah. So what do you have for a score? 31-30. That's crazy. I got 24-21. Redskins taking this one. Like I said, I just don't see anything good for the Cowboys coming on offense. The Redskins' defense isn't that good, but still, I just don't. There's nobody. There's nobody there. Other than Zeke and Dak, depending on what side of the bed he wakes up on, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, and most of the time
do it against the Jags. I watched them put them up, all those points up.
All right, so let's get to another good game. This should be a good game because the Bengals have been playing really well. I got the Chiefs playing against the Bengals. It's in Kansas City. Garb, what do you got on this one? This one should be interesting.
Yeah, it should be, but I think we're going to see, the real difference between these two teams here. And I know Cincinnati is playing well this year, but Kansas City is a different type of team. Yeah. I think Kansas City is the best team in the AFC. I think they might be the best team in the NFL. Mahomes is that good. And it's crazy because I went into we're going to go on fantasy, but I went into fantasy football this year drafting Tyreek Hill on two of my teams. And I'm like, man, I don't know how this Patrick Mahomes connection is really going to work in the rookie year.
His arm is incredible.
God, it's incredible. And I knew he had a strong arm, not like this.
No.
I really didn't see
that
this
one
coming.
touchdown he had. I forgot who they were playing. Maybe it was the Broncos. I don't remember. But he was running to his right, threw across his body.
Mm-hmm.
It was a complete dot.
Yeah.
And it was right there. And I was like, this guy, that's when I knew this guy is for real.
Did you see his throw he made to Tyreek in preseason?
No, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's crazy that a rookie quarterback can do all this. They are at home. They're at Arrowhead. So Kansas City, I think they're going to come out. Good defensive game on Kansas City's side. I would say they come out and win 34 to, 20.
34-20. Mark, what you got?
By 2 touchdowns. All right.
I don't know. These scores are very loosely based.
Yeah,
all I won't tell you is the Chiefs are winning. I don't see the Chiefs losing.
I can absolutely agree with that. I think coming off that game last week where they played really well at some times, and you saw those flashes of how good the Chiefs can really be, and I think they're going to show it a lot more this week against a team that is worse, and they're going to win. And I don't know if it's going to be that big of a blowout or that big of a point gap, so it'll be probably closer, I'd say 35 to 28.
35-28. Yeah, I mean, Andy Dalton, he's been surprising this year, to say the least. He's just been playing really well. He's been making smart decisions. That's always something that's kind of vague.
It was like a few years ago when Andy Dalton
plagued him in the past.
And it was like a few years ago when Andy Dalton, played better than he did.
I feel like he's just making good decisions. I think in the past he's always been a guy that's kind of trying to force things, force the ball to Andy Green, force the ball to Tyler Eifert. But it seems like this year he's kind of, taking his time, taking a step back.
He's smart. He's smart.
Letting the plays develop a little bit. And they played a really, really good game against the Steelers last week. They took it down to that final minute, almost pulled that one out. I know that's
like every Steelers and Bengals game at this point.
But, it was a really good game, and I was really surprised with Andy Dalton. But, like you said, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are just they're moving. They're moving, insane. And I just don't see the stop coming anytime soon.
Unstoppable trade.
I got a fantasy prediction here for you guys. I have Patrick Mahomes in one league, and this Bengals defense is not very good. The secondary is kind of weak. I got Patrick Mahomes throwing 5 touchdowns this week.
Okay.
Going for 400 yards.
Wow.
He's gonna have a crazy week in fantasy. It's gonna be a shootout. This game's gonna be a shootout.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, if you have the chance. I don't care if you have Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. I would start Patrick Mahomes. But I got 38-27 Chiefs win here. They're at home. Respectable. It's not too crazy, but it should be a good game. And our final game, actually, we never even gave the Eagles one, but we'll save that one for last.
We'll save that one for last.
This one, Falcons against the Giants in Atlanta. I mean, depends what Falcons team shows up, but it shouldn't matter because this Giants team is so horrendous. Sorry, Mark. But, Garv, what do you got?
Yeah, I don't see this being close. I really don't, because there'll be times where I'll be like, all right, the Giants have to get it together at this point. And I'll be saying that. Look, I'm sorry to be saying this in front of you, but it's like there are times where I just say that to myself, and then I turn on the TV to the game, and it's the same exact issue. And until they solve that offensive line, and until Eli can actually move the ball down the field, I don't see the Giants putting up points. I don't. I really don't. I see Atlanta taking advantage of that secondary, similar to how Philly did. It's in a dome. Matt Ryan, I feel like, is going to put up some passing yards. I think Matt Ryan is somebody to look for in fantasy this week.
Yeah, I would agree.
I have him on my team.
Yeah. There we go.
The Giants fan is starting the opposing quarterback this week. That's how you know the Giants season.
My other quarterback's Deshaun Watson.
The Giants season is over.
We won't just post that specific part.
The Giants season is over.
Yeah.
The Giants season is over.
For the score prediction.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll say Atlanta 33, New York 9.
9 points.
They scored what? 6 against.
I don't know if Mark's ever going to come back. I don't know if Mark's coming back. Go ahead, Mark.
We need Mark to come back. I'm sorry, Mark. Look, let's have Mark.
Listen, I've been taking it for years. I'm used to it. I can tell you that the Giants won't score over 20 points this week. I just don't see it, and I see that the Falcons will. So I do, as much as it hurts to say, I can be a realistic person here and say that the Falcons are going to win this. And they're going to get 31 points, and the Giants are going to have 17.
Yeah. This is going to be kind of a close game. I think you're completely wrong, Garv. The Atlanta secondary is depleted, to say the least. They don't have anybody left on secondary. And, at some point, Eli... He can't throw the ball, but he should be able to make a play or two this week. I mean,
he can slant pass.
Yeah, he should be able to throw a slant to Odell.
He could let Odell run for 70 yards after the catch.
I think it's going to be a close game because Atlanta's secondary is depleted, and the Giants' defense has just not been playing very well. But it's going to be a close game. Both offenses, they should be able to figure it out, but both offenses have been obviously hit or miss this whole season. Matt Ryan, some days he's MVP Matt Ryan, and some other days he's Ryan Matt. I don't even know who he is. He's who is this guy? And, and same thing with Eli Manning. It depends on what guy you get. But I got this being 24-23, Falcons win.
Wow.
Wins by a field goal. I don't know.
I just think you're going to handle a lead in this game.
The Giants are going to lead going into the fourth.
They're going to lose on a field goal.
You can handle another game winning.
Absolutely.
Anyway, and now the final game is Eagles-Panthers.
Okay, this is the big one.
This is important.
Definitely the big one.
This is important. Garv, what do you got?
All right, so this game. Look, we've talked about it. I think the keys to this game is control and time of possession, one. Get that running game going somehow. If you can get that running game going, I'm telling you, man, especially with Carolina's secondary, it's going to open so much room for your wide receivers. They're not going to be able to stop your offense if you can get the running game going. Defensively, pressure Cam Newton, as we talked about.
Yep.
Pressure Cam Newton, make him, throw a pass or two. He doesn't want to. We've seen with Cam. I don't know what it is with him, but when he is pressured, all of a sudden, the decision-making and everything that he has as a starting quarterback, it's almost like downgraded.
It goes away.
Yeah, it's almost just completely gone. Absolutely. So if you can pressure him, you're going to win this game. And I think the keys are those points, and I think the Eagles are going to win this game. I think it's going to be, I would say, 27-23. And that was the same score last year, in fact. And you know what? I'll say it again, 27-23. Eagles win this one.
All right. Mark, what do you got?
My score was pretty similar to that. I'll take 27-21. And I know that the Panthers have been so inconsistent with the way they've been playing. Either it's beating the Giants or just losing to teams they shouldn't be losing to. And I think you're going to get that bad side of the Panthers this week. Mm-hmm. And the Eagles are going to pull it out and win that game 27-21.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said before, it's going to be a defense game. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's gonna depend on which defense shows up on either side. And if the Eagles can get pressure on Cam Newton, it should be a pretty good game for the Eagles, I believe.
Yeah, and if they can continuously get pressure on Cam Newton, I mean, this can be more than just a one-possession game. This could be a 2-3. I mean, Carolina is not – they're not a great football team. They aren't. Yeah.
They're not.
It's if the Eagles can, stop beating themselves.
Yeah, and that's a great point. If they can stop beating themselves, they will be okay.
They got to be disciplined.
They will be okay.
They got to be disciplined. Too many penalties.
Like I said before, I feel like the Eagles' offense is finding their stride.
Mm-hmm.
Carson Wentz is getting more comfortable again.
Sure.
Starting to show that confidence again to make that good throw.
I will tell you this, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
The connection with Alshon and Carson has been immediate.
It's growing. And it's still growing.
Yeah, it is growing. And you know what? But like last year when Carson came out and Alshon was here, sometimes it took those moments to find that connection.
Absolutely.
And so far, he came out against Tennessee, and the first game was Indy, but against Tennessee, Alshon had a great game. Against Minnesota, I can't. Did Alshon have a good game against Minnesota?
I think he had 60 yards.
Yeah, he was
fine. Great, but it's not.
He was fine, and he wasn't the problem. He wasn't the problem against Minnesota.
Xavier Rhodes played really good that game.
And then the last game, of course, where Alshon just
against Tennessee. Did you say Tennessee?
Against New York.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Against New York.
You're right.
So it's just
So anyway, I just feel like the Eagles, not just as an Eagles fan, I'm not just saying this, but I feel like the Eagles are finding their stride on offense. And, I got them really kicking the crap out of the Panthers this week.
Good. What's your score?
I got 38-24 Eagles win.
I like
it.
I just
38 points. Up 38?
38.
Wow.
The secondary for the Panthers is not good, and Carson Wentz is going to have 3 touchdowns.
That'll be 2 consecutive weeks where the offense, as if the prediction goes away you want it to, where the offense has looked like the offense from 2017.
I'm expecting the 2017 Eagles offense this week.
I hope.
I hope so too. And
that's gonna be the key here, and I think that does it, right? I think that does it.
That's it. Yeah.
So, okay, guys, as we said, if you made it through this long, first of all,
good for you.
Good for you.
Yeah. So we ran a little long.
We definitely ran longer than we thought we were going to go in this first episode. But that's good. And you know what? I'm really glad that we can share and use this platform to share our thoughts with you guys, because it just makes it that much better.
Not only that, but it'll help us in the future. It'll help grow our network. Hopefully this thing takes off.
Of course.
Hopefully it ends up being good. The more viewers we can get, the better. But I just want to say personally, thank you guys for sticking around if you did. And I hope you guys come back for the next one. Mark, you got anything?
Honestly, no.
I think we've abused Mark with the Giants standpoint.
I'm in pain.
He's in pain. So, guys, I would like to once again thank you all for listening to this. There will be more podcasts in the future. We are going to, take the time to discuss some things and still figure some things out. Hopefully, we can shorten some things up. And we're definitely, though, be continuing this. We had a lot of fun, and we hope you guys did too. So, for all of us, it is October 19th, and we are in Philadelphia, PA. It is 8:31 p.m. on a Friday night, and we are telling you to enjoy your weekend. Go Birds!